President of the United States, I wish, in the name of France, to pay homage to those of your children who have given their blood on the soil of Normandy and who are sleeping there forever. We shall never forget them. Mr. President, I want to say thank you to the survivors of this tragedy who are here today with us. I want to say thank you to all those whose courage allowed us to defeat one of the worst barbarity of all times. You fought for a cause of which you knew in the bottom of your heart that it was greater than your own life. Not one of you, not one of your friends were afraid. We owe you our freedom. We cannot mention all their names, so many heroes to whom we owe so much. Never, never will France forget. And this is on this land, in this very place, that the friendship between the United States and France is tied up forever. The United States of America and their allies, France and the United Kingdom, France and Canada as well. Among these soldiers, Mr. President, there was your grandfather, who was a sergeant in the American army, and his two brothers were there. For all the French, you are twice, Mr. President, because of your function, of course, as a president, but also because of the blood in your veins. You are a symbol of the America we love. The America that defends the highest spiritual and moral values. A country that fights for liberty, for democracy, and for human rights. You are a symbol of America, an America which is open, which is generous, tolerant. Mr. President of the United States, Mr. Prime Minister of Canada, the American and Canadian soldiers came to fight with the French and the British. What would have happened if you had not come? This question, the answer is so obvious, so tragic as well. Out of this, Europe was born. After so many ruins, so many coffins as well, everyone understood that the hellish cycle of revenge had to be put to stop, because each war had the seeds of the next war and brought the whole of Europe to the edge of disappearance. So yes, we made peace, and we made Europe so that peace should be there forever. We owe that to all the victims. We owe that to all these young soldiers who sacrificed themselves for us. We owe that to our children, to spare them similar sufferings. We owe that to all the men Europe had brought into that tragedy, all those who fought against the Nazi ideology, against fascism as well. They did it because they wanted to build a better world in which right would take the place of strength. We know that it's still a long way to go. We know it is difficult, a difficult road, but we also know that a united Europe and an America faithful to its value can do together. The threats on the future of mankind are of another nature. They are different from those of the great totalitarianism of the 20th century. However, they are serious. So what will happen if the climate change deprives from water hundreds of millions of men, children and women? If what will happen if out of cowardice, fanaticism will take over? What will happen if democracy stop defending the human rights, the rights of the people? The fights, the struggle of the free people against Nazism was at the origin of the United Nations. We have a duty to bring forward this ideal. Otherwise, those sacrifices, all these lost lives, all these sufferings would have been in vain. The heroic dead who are resting here don't only belong in history. The best homage we have to give them, the only one that really matters, is to try to be worthy of what they have achieved for us. When on the 7th of June 1944, Sergeant Bob Sotley found himself on Omaha Beach, where he had landed the day before, he was upset by all these men who were carried by the waves, floating on the sea, because he knew he had grown up with them. He wrote, "We were brothers, we shall always be brothers. They died so that we can live." I thank them for what they gave us, and throughout his life, he remained haunted by these austere faces, these eyes, and these mouths who were fixed in death. Like a German soldier, Heinz Everlot, wrote similarly, "Since that time which I lived in, forever and always, I see an isolated GI coming out of the grey waters in my dream, landing on the beach. He targets, he shoots, and his helmet gets crashed, and he slowly falls in front of me, and his head falls first on the ground, just like the American soldier who came across these survivors of Buchenwald concentration camp. He just began to understand why he had lost. He learned also why we no longer want war. From all these sufferings that your soldiers had in them, of which they couldn't free themselves. The fight of this atrocious war dreamt of peace and justice. Mr. President of the United States, my dear friends, let us never forget what these sufferings were. Let us never give up that dream of peace. Let us never forget, and let us share that dream with our children, the only dream which is worth its while, a dream of justice and peace for mankind. Thank you very much.